What's up, y'all? It's Truth Tiger, and I'm going to talk today about waking up. And when you wake up, everyone will think you've gone crazy. Because when you wake up, you start to realize that everything you've been told is a lie. You realize that most people are living a lie, and the fundamental way things are going in society has been a bunch of BS. The people close to you who you thought were rocking with you, your friends, your family, you realize that most of them have been very fake and manipulative, and you start to realize that these people were not treating you with respect, they were not caring about you, they were not looking out for your best interest, and they were just kind of trying to use you, extract things from you, use you as a shield to hide behind, use you as their personal therapist. Whatever it is, they're just trying to drain energy out of you. And they're trying to keep you stuck and keep you down. They're people who think very small, and the fact that you think big, they just don't understand it, and they question your ambitions and question what you want to do, and overall they're just doubting on you. And before, it's like you didn't really see that. You just thought, oh, this is just how people are and how it is, and it's what you're used to. And then you wake up and you realize, like, whoa, what the heck's going on? And then, not only that, but spiritually, you realize you need to be connected to God. You got to be connected to Jesus Christ. You have to be connected to goodness, love, redemption, salvation, all that type of stuff. But you realize that the organized religions are holding that hostage and are just trying to sell you a fake version of that. And I mean, outside of organized religion, whatever, all the spirituality of the world is fake spirituality. And they're just selling you a fake God, fake goodness, fake redemption, a fake Christ. It's all a bunch of fake stuff they're selling you. And you realize that the whole world's kind of in bondage to this and is believing these lies. And it's like there's this disillusionment you get. And you realize this same thing with politics. It's all a lie. Whatever, all the societal institutions are a lie. You realize it's all a big lie. And that disillusionment, it'll drive you crazy, and you're pretty tempted to, I didn't do this, but you're tempted to kind of, go in the town square, ringing a bell around, going, it's all a lie, it's all messed up, what's going on? And there's a lot of anger that comes up when you realize this stuff, anger about realizing that your own people around you, your own family, were very manipulative and weird, were not respectful to you, did not treat you with, the love that they should have. And you realize our whole society is just built on hate and lies. And, before, I thought my family loved me. I thought society was good. I thought most people were good people and whatever. I was deceived. There was a small part of me which was like, this is all BS. There's a small part of me which didn't trust any of it. But, the majority of myself, was like, well, the system works, whatever, all this stuff makes sense, that's what I used to think, and my family loves me, and they care about me, and yeah, there's some little things that happen here and there, and, a lot of crap I had to go through, but that's just how it is, and, your self-esteem really gets eroded, to where you don't really think you deserve to be treated well. And, it's okay for people to doubt on you and to disrespect you and to use you and stuff. And, when you wake up, you start to have self-esteem and realize, wait, I have value. I'm a human being. I was created by God. I have value. And you start to realize, I just don't want to do this stuff everybody else is doing. They're just, staying stuck, working the same job, hanging around their toxic families and toxic friends, and just doing a bunch of BS. And, there's some people that don't have toxic families or that have decent situations, but they don't do anything to help you or anything to help anybody around them, and are pretty much just completely apathetic and uncaring. And it's just like, man, they're just down to watch you drown. And those people are part of the problem. And you also realize, there are so many people who just enable this. They just enable this crap. They enable this BS in society. They enable narcissists and family. They just enable evil. They enable evil and they enable lies wherever they can. They want to prop this up because they want to collect their paycheck from their job. I want to have a good relationship with my family, so I'll put up with some of the BS. Or, I don't know. Enabling is one of those things that I'm still figuring out. I don't have all the answers as to why so many people enable this stuff, but you realize, you're surrounded by enablers. And you're surrounded by these fake nice people who act like they're your friends, but in the end of the day, they will join your enemies and stab you in the back. And it's like, why would you do that? Why? And that's just what they do. I'm still figuring that one out, but yeah, there's just a lot of enablers. And you just realize, everyone is full of crap. You realize, everybody is full of crap. I think in the movie Donnie Darko's dad says that to him. He's like, they're all full of shit anyways, so whatever. But it's true. You realize everyone's full of crap. And you realize, most people are really unhappy. And most people are, have, this deep existential dread. And are, just deeply unhappy in their lives. Not everybody, but I would say the vast majority of people are not freaking happy at all. And you start to realize this stuff. And then you start to look at yourself and you start to realize, hey, I'm not happy. I'm depressed. I'm anxious. What's going on with me? And the system doesn't have the fix. The system is going to, tell you to take some, medication or something. The system doesn't have any fixes for you. The system is causing this. It's causing this with it's just all this, so much control and manipulation and bureaucracy, and you just realize it's so much games, and you realize that it's whatever with the government. They're playing a bunch of games, and the corporations are playing games, the religions are playing games, and then the people in your life are playing a bunch of games. And you're like, man, everyone's just full of freaking crap. Everyone is lying. And then you start to learn about what the elites are really up to and the Epstein Islands, and you start to realize, man, what are these people doing? You start to realize that things that you would think, are from some freaking Halloween movie are actually true. And they're going to Bohemian Grove and worshiping the devil, and you're like, what? This is real? And, there's times where I've had to, take a break from waking up because I'm like, I'll get back to, learning more about this stuff in a few months because I just don't want to dive in too deep too fast. Give me a sec here. But, yeah, I just don't want to dive in too deep too fast and, freaking learn too much at once and totally lose it. Because you could lose it from this stuff. You could kind of actually legitimately, you could go crazy from this stuff. Sorry, give me a sec here. This right turn. It's just, All right, there we go. I can go. But yeah, you start to just realize, man, all this stuff is going on, and, you are tempted to really, legitimately go nuts, and, I've seen stuff with some celebrities and stuff who've, gone crazy. I'm not going to name names, but if you look into it, there's a lot of celebrities out there and stuff who are in Hollywood and close to it, and whatever. Some of them have done it for the right reasons, some of them for the wrong reasons, whatever. But you realize there's a reason why these people are going nuts. It's because they're seeing certain things and being exposed to certain things, and they're realizing what the truth really is, and they're realizing that there is a very, very dark, sinister truth at the bottom of all this stuff. And yeah, that's why you're seeing these certain celebrities go crazy. Again, some of them are doing it for the right reasons, some of them for the wrong reasons, but that's why you're seeing that. And yeah, but back to the main topic, when these people see that you're hey, I'm not going to go with the normal status quo. I'm not just going to go along with all this stuff. I'm not going to think the way you think. And you start to bring up certain topics of conversation, like what's going on in the Epstein Island. We got to do something about that. And then people are like, oh, he's a little weird, And you start to seriously question the system. And you start to seriously question these people. And you start to stand up to narcissists. you start to tell these narcissists no. And with a lot of these narcissists, it's like they've been doing this stuff for so long, especially with my own family. They've been doing it since I've literally been a baby. And they're like a tick that's burrowed under my skin. And eventually it's just like, holy crap, like my parents are that passive aggressive. Holy crap, my siblings are that passive aggressive. And there's a reaction where you're like, what the freaking, what? Like, really, this is how you treat me? What? But it's like before you didn't have the perspective. But once you get that perspective, it's like, whoa, like they have no respect for my boundaries. And they have all these like passive aggressive digs they're trying to take at me constantly. And they're constantly jealous. And it's just like being around them just feels horrible. And it's like, what? I've been putting up with this my whole life? And you just start to realize how toxic a lot of your friends are and how toxic a lot of these people are. And just, you realize you got to get away from it. And, you know, some people will start to think you're crazy. And, you know, you might start to get more confrontational. You know, you might start to tell certain people about who God really is and what's really going on in society and what's really going on in the world, and they're not ready to hear that, so they think you're nuts. They think you're nuts. When you start to tell them about spiritual truth, you start to tell them about some conspiracies and stuff, and this stuff is right in front of your face. This stuff is not like that hidden. If you just do a little bit of research, it's right there. But they're not ready to hear it, and they fundamentally believe in the Matrix, and they have fundamentally been sold a lie that it's all daisies and rainbows, when as a matter of fact it's freaking skeletons and cobwebs, and it's not a fun deal. But when you show them that, like, hey, this thing you think is a daisy is a skeleton covered in cobwebs and maggots and worms, they do not want to hear that. They do not want to accept that, whether that is their own narcissistic parents or family, whether that is themselves as a narcissist who wants to be this person who's covered in flowers and whatever, or whether that relates to the societal institutions, politics, religion, whatever. You're saying this stuff is fake. This stuff is trying to make itself look like some freaking, you know, a field of daisies, but you're saying that this is a freaking skeleton. This is a freaking creepy skeleton covered in freaking cobwebs and worms and maggots, and it's not a good deal. And they cannot handle that. You know, if they're narcissists themselves, they're the toxic people themselves. That's not me. No, I didn't mean that. You misunderstood everything. You're actually the bad one. And the narcissist will go crazy. And the narcissist will try to say that you're crazy, or that you're this, or you're on that, or whatever. They'll try to say some stuff about you because you have changed things up with them, and you have seen through their game, and you have shut the door on them, never to open it again. And they cannot accept that they have been figured out and that they have been bested. So they'll start to spread rumors about you and whatever. This is the last thing they expected. These people like thought they had you on lock. They thought you were never going to leave, that you were always just going to be there, and that like it was just going to, and you were just going to be there so they could just freaking suck the life out of you. And you go, no. And then they're like, oh, he's crazy. He's nuts. She's crazy. She's nuts. She left. The only reason, and a lot of it is their own egos, because they can't accept that they are the problem. And then they have to make it like, well, if he didn't want to be around me, he didn't want to be my friend, he didn't want to, you know, keep up these family relationships, he has to be nuts. You know, I'm great. I'm awesome to be around, you know. But they cannot accept the reality that they are toxic people, they are cancerous people, and they are not good people to be around. And then for their enablers, you're telling them like, hey, like, you know, I don't know, like, let's say, like, I had a situation where I had a roommate, he kept having his weird parents come over. And I never had this conversation with him, it didn't get that far, but I knew that if I would have told this person, hey, your parents are weird and freaking toxic, I don't want them around, I pay to live here, no, they should not be coming over here, they're weird, they're toxic, you know? If I say that, then that's going to cause friction and issues and problems. And, you know, if you start to tell the enablers that, hey, like, these people you hang around are no good for you, and if you're going to hang around them, we're not going to hang around each other anymore because you're propping these weird people up. And this is not a good deal. And they'll get mad. And then we start to tell people spiritual truth, who God really is and how organized religion is deceiving them. And that God really wants us to love our fellow. And that, Jesus is real and he walked this earth and he rose from the dead. And you start to tell people that even Christians, even these quote unquote Christians, he's a little nuts, he's a cuckoo ball, they'll start to say that. They will. And then once you get into the conspiracy theories, oh yep, there you're gonna hear how you're a cuckoo ball. But there is an Epstein Island, there is Bohemian Grove, all this stuff is real, it's there, it's documented fact. So I'm still wrestling with this stuff myself, where I'm starting to realize, like, what I fundamentally thought was reality is not reality, and that this world is a very evil place, and that the people who run this world are very evil, and this whole world is just, it's a giant axis of evil. It's a narcissistic world, and that pretty much everything that comes from the world is to try to get you to just submit to authority. And not only do submit to authority, but to be like weird and egotistical. Because people who are weird and like up in their egos are easy to control. And that's a big part of waking up too, is you start to kill your ego a bit. Your ego gets smaller. You don't have this like thing in your head that's like blocking you, so you can see clearly what's going on. But most people are so in their ego, and they just like deceive themselves, and they have to like tell themselves this lie that they're a good person, and that they're cool and successful, and that they're positive, and they're nice, and they're whatever it is. They're the man, they're on the ball, they're in charge, they dominate the situation, whatever they want, lies they want to tell themselves, that these people are completely BSing themselves and are just these like clown joke people. And that's how most people are. Most people are these weird clown joke people, but they have this like vision in their head that they're this great, cool, successful, awesome person, and it's like, hey, no, you're not. And they don't want to admit that they're part of the problem. And they don't want to admit that they are evil people in their hearts. They are like these evil, foolish cowards. And they don't want to freaking face that. I've had to face that on myself. It wasn't fun. It wasn't fun to have to look at my flaws, to have to look at the fact that I was not as strong of a person than I thought I was. I was not as nice of a person as I thought I was. I was not as honest of a person as I thought I was. But I looked at that stuff, and I'm dealing with it, and I deal with it every day. And that's how you actually become a good person. But they have not even started with that. They have not even started with that. And for them to actually self-examine, and not in a weird fake way, but to actually self-examine, that's like a form of insanity to them. It is. It is. And the thing is like, when you're in an insane world, your sanity makes you the weird one. If you're in a world full of people who are insane, which, the way people think is very twisted up, and I mean, this is an insane world. And when you're the only sane person in the freaking world that is insane, they're all gonna think you're the crazy one. That's just the bottom line. When you're living in a freaking insane world, they're gonna think you're the crazy one, because you actually have some sense of truth and sanity. When you're around a bunch of people and they're saying we're gonna bang our head against a wall as hard as we can, and you're like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do something productive. I'm gonna do something else. Like, what? And they're like, well, you're banging your head against a wall. We're all doing this. And the thing is, they use collective dishonesty. They do. And they have this idea that if a lie gets repeated by enough people, and if enough people believe a lie, it becomes true. It doesn't. It really doesn't. But they think because the collective, the majority, because the majority believes in this, because the majority is doing this, it must be factually correct. And that has no basis on what's factually correct. The majority of people could wake up every day in the morning and hit themselves in the head with a hammer. And if you're like, no, I'm not going to do that, that's going to cause brain damage, I'm going to freaking fracture my skull doing that. Why would I do that? I'm going to get a concussion, I'm going to get a brain aneurysm. Like, what? No, you got to hit yourself in the head with a hammer. You got to do it. You know, and you're like, what? That's insane. But they're going to be like, no, you're insane because you're not doing this. That's how they think. That's a very oversimplified way of putting it, but that is what it is. That there is collective dishonesty, and a lot of these people are too foolish and too cowardly to stand up for this stuff, but they're too egotistical to accept that about themselves. They have to, like, no, I'm the man, I'm the king. Like, no, you're not. You're not a king of anything. But you know, when people can have that sort of egotistical mentality, they stay trapped in the matrix, and then they'll be fed the lie of the matrix, and they will take great pride in that lie. They will take personal pride in that lie, and they'll enable that lie, and they'll go, yeah, the Matrix, I love the Matrix, I believe in the Matrix, people who don't are bad, yeah, and they'll beat their chest super hard. And they will gain a sense of personal identity from that, because they have no sense of personal identity of their own. They don't. And they're going to look at you and they're, oh, he doesn't hit himself in the head with a hammer every day. He's crazy. He's crazy. She's crazy, you know? Because you do not believe in these lies, and these lies that the collective believes in. Yeah. All right, folks, I think I'm going to end this video here. Gotten a lot out here, so yeah. I'm going to end this. Much love, God bless, and I will see you all next time.